Let's take a look at the rules for using different kinds of subordinate clauses. Click each rule to learn more about it. A noun clause acts like a noun in a sentence. For instance, in this sentence, the subordinate clause acts as a noun. Notice that it answers the question, what? Let's look at another example. Here, the noun clause acts as the subject of the verb is in the main clause. In this sentence, the noun clause acts as the object of the verb knew in the main clause. Sometimes, a noun clause can also act as the object of a participle. For example, here, the noun clause acts as the object of the participle finding. Similarly, a noun clause can act as an object of an infinitive in the main clause. Here, the noun clause is the object of the infinitive to inform in the main clause. In this sentence, the noun clause is the object of the preposition about in the main clause. Here are a few more examples of noun clauses. An adjective clause acts like an adjective in a sentence. Read this sentence. The subordinate clause modifies the noun pen in the main clause. As the subordinate clause acts like an adjective in the sentence, it is an adjective clause. To identify an adjective clause, ask which before the noun in the main clause. For instance, on asking the question which pen here, you get the adjective clause as the answer. Here's another sentence. The subordinate clause acts as an adjective clause and qualifies the noun test in the main clause. Notice that here the adjective clause appears between the two parts of the main clause. Here are a few more examples of adjective clauses. An adverb clause acts like an adverb in a sentence. For example, here, the subordinate clause tells us when Sunny entered the house. It modifies the verb entered in the main clause. So, the subordinate clause acts as the adverb in the sentence. Sometimes, an adverb clause modifies an adjective in the sentence. For instance, here, the adverb clause modifies the adjective stronger. Similarly, an adverb clause may also modify an adverb in the main clause. For instance, here, the adverb clause modifies the adverb faster in the main clause. Here are a few more examples of adverb clauses. Adverb clauses are of different types. For instance, here, the adverb clause tells us when the girls went out to play. So, this is an adverb clause of time. Now take a look at this sentence. Here, the adverb clause tells us where the dog followed Sarah. Therefore, this is an adverb clause of place. In this sentence, the adverb clause tells us why Maria is going to watch a movie. So, this is an adverb clause of reason. Look at this sentence. Here, the adverb clause tells us how she mixed the ingredients. So, this is an adverb clause of manner. Here, the adverb clause tells us the purpose of practicing hard. So, this is an adverb clause of purpose. Here's another type of adverb clause. It tells us the result of getting engrossed in the game. Such a clause is called an adverb clause of result. Note that the use of so and that separately implies the the result of an action, while the use of so that together implies that an action was done for a specific purpose. In this sentence, the adverb clause shows a comparison. Such a clause is called an adverb clause of comparison. Now, read this sentence. Here, a lot of traffic in the subordinate clause is contrasted with reaching the railway station in time in the main clause. Such a clause is called an adverb clause of concession. In this sentence, the adverb clause states a condition for traveling on the train. In this case, the clause is called an adverb clause of condition. Let's learn about another type of clause. Here, the adverb clause states the degree or extent to which the action mentioned in the main clause is done. This is therefore an adverb clause of extent. Here are the different types of adverb clauses. Click each type to see more examples. Let's see how noun clauses, adjective clauses, and adverb clauses are used in the biography of the well-known music composer of the 18th century, Mozart. Wolfgang Amadeus Mozart was a child prodigy who was adept at the piano and violin from the age of 5. He composed several operas, symphonies, and concerts, which are still very popular. That Mozart learned to compose music at an early age is no surprise. After all, he was born into a musical family in the Austrian town of Salzburg. Mozart learned by observing his sister, who was a prodigy herself, playing the piano. When Mozart was still quite young, his family made several tours to perform at various European courts. The young siblings were appreciated for their talent wherever they performed. At the age of 13, Mozart went with his father to Italy. They made the trip because his father wanted to display his son's talent to a wider audience. In Italy, Mozart once heard another famous composer perform a piece of music. Then, Mozart wrote the entire music score as if he had heard it several times before. After he got back to Salzburg, he was given an important position in the city's court. Although Mozart was very successful for his age, he soon grew discontented with his position in the Salzburg court. Mozart realized that he needed to explore employment in other courts. Mozart moved to Vienna so that he could advance his career further. In Vienna, his opera Die Entführung was so successful that Mozart received immediate fame throughout Europe. He started leading a more lavish lifestyle than was appropriate for him financially. He began to fall into debts. Even though his musical compositions helped in improving his financial situation, his mental and physical condition kept deteriorating. He died at the age of 35.